Who actually runs the water in California? It's a back down the rabbit hole, y'all. Everybody get your aluminiums. Get your aluminium headwear. We're going spelunking. Let's go.
Californians suffer through unprecedented drought. One billionaire couple owns a massive share of the state's water system, seized in a series of secretive meetings 2 decades ago. That system was largely paid for by the very taxpayers whose water these billionaires hold hostage. Urban water systems are desperate for water, but in 2023, they'll receive just 5% of what they requested from the state.
Wait. And for to put everything in proper context, we're gonna show both sides of this angle. We're gonna show the billionaire side of the angle, and we're gonna show the power that the people had that they squandered to help offset this. But let's continue.
The Resnicks are the biggest farmers in California. As of 2007, they owned 4 San Francisco's worth of farmland. And nearly half of Americans buy at least one of their products. Their pistachios, their pomegranate juice, their mandarins, their flowers. It's all under one massive umbrella, the Wonderful Company.
Yep, I buy the hell out of that palm. The pomegranate, the cherry pomegranate, I buy the hell out of some palm. I didn't know all this. Now I know.
Privately owned company worth at least $5 billion. The majority owners, the Resnicks, are worth at least $8 billion. How were they able to take over such a large percentage of what should be a shared public resource? This is The Classroom from More Perfect Union, and today we're looking at how the Resnicks got rich.
All right, let's go.
Linda is a former child actress, the daughter of Jack Harris, a successful movie distributor of the 1950s, most well known for The Blob.
Starring Steve McQueen.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies, The Blob, with Steve McQueen, right? Oh, classic. That's a classic movie.
Cast of exciting young people.
At 19, she founded her own advertising agency. Stewart was born to a middle-class New Jersey family and started his first business, a janitorial service, in grad school. He eventually acquired American Protection Services, a burglar alarm and security company. Linda approached him about marketing services for the company, and they hit it off, not knowing that one day they'd work together to take over California's water.
How does a state that lives next to an ocean struggle for water? Insane.
Lovebirds became business partners. They bought Teleflora, the flower delivery.
No, sir. The Blob remake was not better. Stop. Now I don't trust your movie acumen. No one ever says the Blob remake is better. Stop. I don't trust your movie acumen at all. You can never talk movies to me saying the Blob remake was better. Please stop that, sir. Please stop.
Company and the Franklin Mint, purveyors of inane little tchotchkes. Linda was the marketing person, and Stewart was in charge of business. As Linda told the LA Times in 1993, "I've always said that Stewart and I together make one perfect person, like little salt and pepper shakers." In the late 80s, they found their primary industry, agriculture. They got into the pistachio business. Linda said, "We've done more for the pistachio than anyone ever since it was planted in the Garden of Eden."
You seen those commercials? You seen all the celebrity ads for the pistachios? You seen the commercials? Let's go.
"My husband should be canonized for all the work he's done." They started branching into other products, almonds, pomegranates, citrus, wine, and acquiring more and more land to cover it, including some very important land in Kern County, which granted them water rights in the area. As the Resnicks were building their empire, the state of California was building new water infrastructure with taxpayer money. California's natural water supply is very inconsistent. Vastly differing amounts of rainfall means the state can go from surplus to drought and back very easily. So they build water banks to store water during surpluses to have during droughts. One important storage facility is the Kern Water Bank, started in 1988. The facility was built with hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars, which could have been a good thing. The people of California would have owned the water. But there were 2 Californians thirstier than the rest, and they wanted more water. Linda and Stewart Resnick. And they had a lot of political power. We'll get to that.
Y'all worried about the Pelosi family. But let's continue.
1994, state water officials, water infrastructure contractors, and agricultural landowners with water rights arranged a secretive meeting at a resort in Monterey Bay, California. These groups, a mix of private companies and public agencies, rewrote California's water rules without any input from voters, taxpayers, or legislators. The new rules, called the Monterey Plus Agreement or the Monterey Amendments, were devastating for working Californians, and great for agriculture billionaires. The original code included urban preference, a long-standing rule that in times of drought, the state water board would give urban areas, where people live, access to water supplies before agricultural interests.
And this is one of the reasons why we are under like limited water during the summer. We can only, there's mandates per county that you can only run your sprinklers so many times out of the week during the specific times of the day. Of course, we don't pay no attention. We don't listen to that shit. We just turn our sprinklers on. But they'll you know, what they used to do is have people, the water meter people will actually go to home or, you know, drive down these neighborhoods and see who had their sprinklers on during non-sprinkler hours. And you would get a ticket. They would write the ticket, put it on your door and say, hey, we caught you with your sprinklers on during a non-sprinkle hour zone time. And you would get fined for that shit. They still do it, but not as much. Because people just like, we don't give a fuck.
Monterey axed that. That means that in times of drought, the water systems for normal Californians would have to buy water from private companies because they weren't getting it from the state. The new agreement also loosened regulations on paper water. That's water that doesn't necessarily exist anywhere but on paper. The full quantities of water that providers could have, but don't actually need to have. Today, 5 times as much water has been promised and sold as actually exists. And importantly, the meeting changed ownership of the Kern Water Bank. What once belonged to the state was transferred to a few private water contractors, one of which was Westside Mutual, a wholly owned subsidiary of Wonderful Foods. The wonderful employee who runs Westside, Bill Phillimore, is the chairman of the public organization that manages the Kern Water Bank. Boom. One secret meeting, and the Resnicks owned nearly 60% of an important California water resource, built with hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money. The new ownership, combined with the rules on paper and surplus water, meant that during times of drought, the Resnicks could sell Kern water back to the state water systems. They took Californian taxpayers' water and sold it back to them, both literally as the water supply and also to grow expensive food like gourmet pistachios and pomegranate juice. They converted the people's water into products many can't afford. And that's just one water bank.
Okay. Yeah, the disrespect is pretty evident. There's 50 likes. There's 123 people watching. I'm sure half of them are hate watchers. 50 likes. Give me up to 75 likes, please. I don't understand why people continuously hate watch me. That's a mental illness. If you're watching me and you don't like me, you don't like my voice. I've been told I don't like his voice. He talks like a snake. I've heard these criticisms of me, right? But yet and still, you worry about what I say and my opinion and whatever the case may be, and it's mental illness with some of you guys. Let's go.
The Resnicks also have control of other water boards and have been sued for directing more water towards their properties. So how do they get away with this Chinatown-level chicanery?
Gonna be a lot of irate citizens when they find out that they're paying for water that they're not gonna get.
With philanthropy. The Resnicks donate millions of dollars to politicians and research institutions, which help them secure control over water systems, and even get more water and more taxpayer funding. One important project is the proposed California Delta Tunnel, a taxpayer-funded project which would send water from Northern California to Central, where the Resnicks farms are. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on state and federal legislation.
And this is part of the reason why everybody's moving to Central California, from up north, and down south. Like we're full. Central California is full. Hey, you know what's funny? There used to be an old running joke of California, Central Valley. That old running joke was that the Central Valley is the armpit of California. And I never understood why. And then someone broke it down for me, right? And they were like, well, it's agriculture and, farming, cows, manure. When you hit a certain part of the highway and the ammonia and the methane hits you while you're driving, right? It's an old running joke. Now look at all the people that are running at breakneck speed to move to what is considered to be the armpit of California. Isn't that funny? How life kind of flips Yeah.
and politicians who support the tunnel project. But their favorite politician is Senator Dianne Feinstein.
You come in here and you say it has to be my way.
Sir, I don't have a lisp. I don't understand why people think I have a lisp. I don't have a lisp. I don't know where y'all get that. You know what? I know where it came from. It came from the Chomo. It came from the Chomo that got kicked off YouTube. Now it makes sense. Gotcha.
Or the highway.
Chair of the Energy and Water Subcommittee. She's a close personal friend of the Resnicks, attending their holiday parties in Aspen and maintaining their financial interests. A quick look through the bills she's sponsored shows several which would direct money to Kern-adjacent water projects. The Resnicks even ask her for things directly. When a pesky study about endangering salmon and shad fisheries threatened the Delta Tunnel, Stewart wrote a letter to Feinstein demanding a new study. She immediately forwarded it to the Obama administration, who agreed to spend $750,000 on a new study.
Imagine
It
that.
returned the same results as the first one.
Uh-huh.
Can't buy science. But the Resnicks have tried. They are among the top donors to the University of California system, with their donations focusing on agricultural and ecological studies. The Resnicks have basically bought entire departments who put out studies on how water systems should be managed, and where funding should go. That leads to even more federal and state taxpayer dollars being used to fix up what the Resnicks profit off of. This is all bad for California, even in a capitalistic sense. Agriculture uses 80% of California's water, but only represents 2% of its GDP.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's a crazy stat. That just goes to show how just vast California's, commodities are. You can laugh at the politics, but once again, California, Texas. Without California and Texas, I think the U.S. it's a wrap.